Today we follow the story of a man who knew only torment and suffering, and even in death found nothing but chaos. How you guys and girls doing today? It's Nanaya here, and in this video we are talking about Midra, Lord of Frenzied Flame. Before we get into the video, I want to say thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed these videos, please hit that like and sub button down below. With that being said though, let's get right to it. Midra was once a powerful sage with a profound command of the arcane arts. I believe Midra harbored an intense desire to become the Lord of Frenzied Flame, a position that promised the power to burn away the world and correct the mistakes of the greater will. When we get our hands on Nanaya's torch, it tells us that it is a torch made by attaching a dying flame of frenzy to a small spinal column. In a distant land, in an age long past, was born a man who failed to become the Lord of Frenzied Flame. All that remains of him is cradled gently by Nanaya. I've seen several theories on this. One of the theories is that this was perhaps a child of both Nanaya and Midra, and upon realizing that the child could not bear the flame, Nanaya took it into her arms where it died. Another good one is that Nanaya is a lot like Hayeta in the base game. She's simply a secret maiden for the Frenzied Flame and tries to find anyone suitable to withstand it. Perhaps she was taken over by Shibiri and manipulated Midra into what he would ultimately become. The last theory is the most simple. This is Midra's spine and he somehow has an extra one when we find him, but I think that is unlikely. Let's continue though. Clearly, Midra's ambition came with a grave cost. Midra learned that one cannot ascend to the lordship of Frenzied Flame without losing their mind and identity. After his failed attempt, he isolated himself, fearing the destructive potential of his flawed transformation. The power of the Frenzied Flame inevitably consumes its devout followers, driving them to madness and hatred. As we know from the base game, the Frenzied Flame's will is to eradicate all life. We even get a nice little reminder from the Midra's Flame of Frenzy incantation. It says, "The Lord of Frenzied Flame shall take their torment, despair, their affliction, every sin, every curse, all melted away." Yet Midra, like others before him, was too weak to become a lord. Let's talk about that last part for a second. What does it mean when it says Midra was too weak? I don't think it means that Midra's body couldn't handle the transformation or that he would be an improper vessel. I believe it has something to do with Midra's mentality and perhaps a change of heart on becoming the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Midra's lover and wife Nanaya played a pivotal role in his downfall. I believe she manipulated his agony and madness, shaping him into a vessel of despair. Midra's remembrance reads, "As the golden barbs inflicted eternal agony upon him, Midra held fast to Nanaya's entreaty. Endure." The word was a curse.
"I have endured more than enough. I ask you forgive me, dearest Nanaya."
Now, there were several ways to take this. You could just say that Nanaya didn't want Midra to fall and become the Lord of Frenzied Flame, so before she died, trying to protect him, she simply told him to endure. I think it's a lot deeper than that though. I believe Nanaya told him to endure because she knew that's exactly what he would need to do to fully embrace his despair and eventually become the Lord of Frenzied Flame. I like to believe that this was a setup from the very beginning and Midra would never escape his fate. Telling him to endure just made his eventual transformation that much stronger. Let's go back a bit though. Let's talk about the golden barbs the remembrance speaks of. The great sword of damnation. Golden great sword that once pierced the body of Midra, master of the Manse, used by Hornsent in the execution of a damnation like no other. Now, I won't go fully into the Hornsent and what they stand for as I cover that in detail here, but what we do know for sure is that the Hornsent are absolutely terrified and despise the power of the Frenzied Flame. The Hornsent believe that spirits are divine in nature, and guess what Frenzied Flame does? Surging Frenzied Flame tells us that spirits are eternal, and yet Frenzied Flame melts them away regardless. No wonder the Hornsent forbid the flame's use. So they came after Midra, and whether or not Midra was dead set on becoming the Lord of Frenzied Flame, they knew he had the potential to become one, or if Midra had a change of heart, it didn't matter to the Hornsent. They were not going to take any chances and punished him in the worst way imaginable. The Great Sword of Damnation is literally designed to inflict eternal pain and stop the possible process and transformation of those persuaded by the Frenzied Flame. We even get a little bit of lore time in its unique skill description. It reads, "Leap up and skewer foe from overhead. If successful, the weapon barbs unfold to excruciate from within. Additional input releases barbs in the area. There is something of the golden order and the sight of those fixed upon this crux." Now, this could mean several things, such as a reference to America being pierced or a host of other things. I like to believe, though, that that it means this particular move reflects the Golden Order's power and its gruesome methods of stopping the Frenzied Flame. Instead of incapacitating Midra and preventing further corruption by the Frenzied Flame, the Great Sword of Damnation only drove him deeper into madness. He lost everything he held dear: his home, autonomy, wife, potential child, and ultimately his sanity. This takes us to where we are now, when a new contender for the Frenzied Flame, the Tarnished, enter his home. Midra warned them to stay away. However, upon being attacked and wounded, Midra's restraint broke. He succumbed entirely to the power of the Frenzied Flame, tearing free of the Great Sword of Damnation and in the process his own head.
So no head?
With Midra's final transformation, the Frenzied Flame found its true lord, a vessel filled with hate, despair, and madness. There's just one more thing I wanted to add in, a little piece of lore that hints at what might have started it all. When we enter Midra's manse, we eventually find a torn diary page. It says, "I touched him, but only once. When he thrust his staff in my face, pause, I brushed it aside. It was then that I touched him. The aging untouchable." What this note refers to is the creatures that we can find within the abyssal woods. These creatures are extremely powerful and seem invincible at first, as you're unable to damage them. The torn diary page tells us exactly what to do though. If we parry at just the right time, we can kill them. I believe this diary page is something written by Midra himself. Seems to me like these interactions with the aging untouchables could have been what started his descent into chaos and frenzy. Midra's story is a tragic tale of ambition, love, and torment. His journey from a powerful sage to a tormented vessel of the Frenzied Flame highlights the devastating consequences of seeking power beyond one's grasp. So is the fate of everyone that encounters the Frenzied Flame. Thank you all for watching, and like I always say, I appreciate and love you guys. I will catch you all in the next one. Tempster918 out of here.